Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the One's Ready podcast. You're in the team room, and we have Aaron and I, but then we also have Maki Pitolo. Appreciate you joining us.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So you've kind of got your hands in a lot of different things. You're running Deep End Fitness out in Las Vegas.
Yep.
So part of Prime and all those guys out there teaching breathing, underwater torpedo league, underwater just full up training. And then you're in your spare time, you're also a professional MMA fighter. I don't know how you have the time.
Man, it just finding the balance, I would say. Finding the sweet spot.
Well, yeah, man. Well, let's start at the beginning. I see you're outside in the beautiful Las Vegas. We had some rain either early this morning or last night. So you're out there enjoying that nice weather. But let's dive in on let's start with MMA first, and then we'll go into the Deep End Fitness stuff. But did you always want to be a professional fighter, or how'd you find your way into that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first off, I started doing MMA just to get in shape for the football season, and I started my journey in high school. My background is kickboxing, and that's where it all started. I did kickboxing to stay in shape, lose weight, and kind of like you're in your teens, so you're actually getting in shape to impress everybody, impress the crowd, impress my friends at that time, and really quickly I found the knack for it, and I found that I liked the competition side of it, and it humbled me to be able to keep chasing the dream. So I went from having the dream of strapping on the helmet and playing football to strapping on the gloves and wanting to strap on UFC gloves, since I could first remember putting on kickboxing gloves or regular boxing gloves and even MMA gloves. And from there, I was like, dude, this is it. This is what I want to do. I want to be able to go in there, not only put on good performances and excite the crowd, but be able to compete against another person in martial arts is probably the most purest form of martial arts competition.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
Competition in general. Yeah. It's like, football is one thing. And my son is funny. Like, he grew up doing jujitsu as well. And he's a weightlifter and a jujitsu athlete now, but he says, like, I always ask him, I'm like, hey, you watching any sports? Like, what are we doing? He was like, I don't like anything other than individual sports. He was like, I don't have anybody to blame. And, the work is all on me. It's funny that you just happened to get into something that you love as an off-season sport. When did you make the transition away from full-time football? Because MMA is obviously a full-time gig, right? You got, stand up, you got to be on the ground. When did you make that transition?
When I was going to 17. And I've the ground running ever since. I never turned back or decided to change my career paths. The full steam ahead as soon as I made that decision, and I've been blessed ever since.
Right. How was it's a long road from amateur fighting to getting onto a team and stuff. Who were some of your first mentors as you started off on your journey in MMA?
Some of my mentors that I looked up to back home was first coming into kickboxing was always Nico Vitale coming up. He's one of the legends back home. Then as soon as I found out on the bigger promotions, it was UFC. Then it was BJ Penn. He was always the guy that us Hawaii guys were always looking to. And then thereafter, it was like guys like Dan Henderson, one of my favorite fighters, Vitor Belfort. As I started to learn about the MMA community and see all these legends in the game, these were the guys that I was looking up to at my time coming up.
Yeah. When was did you ever get to roll with any of them? When was the first time that you ever, were you ever for real starstruck?
I fought on BJ Penn's cards back home in Hawaii. He called it Just Scrap, which means just scrap means just fight. I fought on a couple of his cards, met him. The first time I met him, I was 18, and that's when I was like, "Whoa, dude! So much fight on your card. This is amazing." Just even giving me the opportunity to be able to go out there for my second MMA fight. I was already a co-main event for BJ Penn's card. I took a short notice fight, and it was a co-main event. My boy was telling me it's a free trip. They'll pay for it. Like, dude, put me down. Let's go. I'm all in. And it's BJ Penn's card. I want to meet the guy. So I got to go there, met him, and that's probably the only time I really was like, "Whoa, dude, this is a legend right in front of my face."
Yeah, you can't help but be a bit starstruck when you got BJ Penn and guys like that around. Like, what, Aaron? What would we have? We had Greg Jackson on a couple years ago too, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those things where man, when you're in that community and you know what some of these folks are, they really are legends, living legends. So you can't help but be starstruck.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I distinctly remember, rolling in Albuquerque. The only professional sport is mixed martial arts. So there's 7, 8 jiu-jitsu gyms, high level jiu-jitsu gyms, and no kidding, like the day that, my son, there was like an open mat tournament or like an open mat sort of like a seminar thing, and Holly Holm got her blue belt at that time. So that's how long ago this was. But it's like Holly Holm, John Jones, Michelle Watterson were all there because they're all Albuquerque natives. My son and I were rolling around, and like we ran into Holly Holm, and I was at the time I was like a 2 or 3 stripe blue belt. So like Holly had to like move away from us because I outranked her on the mats, and I was just like, hold on, this is a world champion right now. Like what am I doing? Is the most ridiculous thing. So you talk about being a co-main event essentially right away. We have a lot of folks that listen to us, and they hit us up, and we did an episode on imposter syndrome. But a lot of the questions we get is, how do I know if I'm ready? Your second MMA fight, you were a co-headliner for BJ Penn. How did you make that leap? Like, how did you talk yourself into being ready for that fight?
The people I had around me, honestly, they were telling me, one, I train hard, 2, to trust the process, and the third one was that fear that I was feeling was just my body telling me that I was ready to go out there and do work, and I just had to trust that the training that I did will pay off.
It's hard. I mean, that's easy to. I'm sorry, I stepped on you, Maki, but that is easy to say, much harder to do and believe in, because when you're operating at the level that you were in training at that level, that's tough to actually step back and objectively look and go, no, I'm ready for this. I can do it. I'm ready.
So trusting where I'm at, the people I got around me was a big thing.
Oh yeah, and to trust that they won't kind of sell you bad info and just tell you what you want to hear. Like, oh yeah, you're ready, bud. You keep going, and just pat you on the butt and get you in there just to get your ass kicked. But
yeah,
and we
was second to none, because at that time I think I was 18 or 19 taking that fight, and I had my coaches around me. My 2 coaches, actually, they were also mentors, right? My first boxing coach, his name was Sam, and then one of my brothers, his name is Sasae. Those 2 guys were pushing me at that time to be the best that I could be, because I was already coming through the kickboxing, amateur kickboxing. I had a pretty good name for myself already. So transitioning from kickboxing to MMA was where I knew, like, I had already knew, like, okay, if I take this step, I'm already taking the next steps to the dream that I want to make come true. So by any means, I'm going to make this happen. And these boys made sure, like, okay, your boxing is going to be up to par. Your card is going to be up to par. Everything you're doing, we're going to make sure. I mean, it was almost like a Rocky movie at that time. It was like we're running on the beach, racing each other, carrying bricks, doing old school weightlifting techniques in the backyard. So it was great. And just trusting these 2 guys to be able to push me to the next level was what I needed.
I can't help but envision a 80s montage 100%. Right now.
Oh, yeah. The beaches of Hawaii, shorts, you got a good glisten of sweat on there. No big deal.
Swimming between the islands, like whatever. Yeah. I just watched Team America last night. So the montage is real.
Nice.
Let's see. For full disclosure for folks, that we've actually had this scheduled 2 other times before, but you have taken on fights. Like, I don't know what's happened. Has somebody fallen out? Like they didn't make weight, or they got injured, and then you stepped in. But we've tried to schedule this a couple times, and you've had to step out twice just because you're like, I got to go fight, and I'm accepting this fight. So how does all that work?
So the first one was the bare knuckle MMA. That one I actually had scheduled, and then just our dates didn't match up. So that one was a scheduled fight. I was preparing for that one correctly. This last one that we were supposed to do, that one, the opponent fell out, and my management team called me asking me if I could replace the fight because it was here in Las Vegas. So I was training, I was ready, and I took the fight on short notice. So I was like, let's do it. This is what I do,
Yeah. So do you kind of live your life by, you're always ready, you always have a certain level of baseline fitness and readiness, or are you do you kind of ebb and flow like some of the other fighters?
Yeah, I would say prior I would have an ebb and flow, going in and out, going in through a fasted state and a feasting state. But nowadays I have a baseline that I hold to myself, and this is where I tie in deep end fitness. I'm always in shape. I'm always pushing the limits for myself. So to take a fight is it's like another sparring session for me. So I it's a live and die by the sword type of mentality, but I feel like I'm always staying ready, utilizing the water, utilizing my mindset, and being able to stay on that baseline fitness is what I hold myself to, and I'm able to. That's where I'm able to pull the trigger on saying yes to fights so short notice. Down was I took the fight 4 days notice, had medical, so I only had 3 days to prepare for it.
Oh my gosh.
Bro, no thanks. No thanks. I can't even like, I don't even know. I can't even take a vacation on 4 days notice. And you're talking about getting into a cage fight, my dude. Like, man, mad respect. Well, and it's something that we try to put out there all the time, right? Sometimes from older dudes, or, you know, sometimes from us, it gets to be a little bit old hat, right? We're saying, hey, you always have to be ready. You always have to be able to answer that call. For us, it's a little bit different. You know, when you're on alert, when you're in the special operations world, like, if you get out of shape, and guys do it, you know, that's what other people don't understand too. Like, we have these seasons in our life where sometimes you're not focused on fitness, or you catch an injury and then you're off for a week or 2 weeks. And, you know, then that becomes a month, you know, if you're not on status or whatever, it can be one of those things. But, you know, living that life of always ready, you know, you don't get to necessarily say when that call comes in. And through Deep End Fitness, you found a way to maintain a really high level of fitness and a really high level of readiness. How does Deep End Fitness, and specifically, you know, when you look at your curriculum, it's not just, you know, the water stuff, but it's an entire catalog of exercises, strength and conditioning, mindset stuff. How does Deep End Fitness underpin your training?
So Deep End Fitness helps me with 3 aspects. The first one is my cardio, being able to control that when I'm redlining, being able to control that red line and bring myself back down to a neutral state. In competition, you know, we only have 1 minute to recover. So I utilize that mindset. Is second. Being able to keep a calm, breathe calm mindset is one of the biggest ideologies that we take from Deep End Fitness. And I apply that into everything that we do while I program. Then the third is being able to utilize breath work. So being able to control my cardio with a strong mindset and a calm, breathes calm type of mindset, and then having the correct breath work for everything that I'm doing. Throughout my career, I've found out that different types of breathing patterns work for different types of things. You got the box breathing to bring the anxiety down, even triangle breathing to bring the anxiety down, recovery breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, till you finally find yourself going in and out through the nose, which is probably the best way to breathe. So I found different techniques with the breathing parts that just tie all 3 of those together, and that works for me the most. Different people have different aspects to how the water helps them. A lot of my athletes, I've heard whenever I talk to them, the breathing part is what helps them tie them back to being able to have a calm mindset, being able to control their cardio in crappy situations. And then even for entrepreneurs or business people, they also tie in with the breathwork more and how that helps them. And then even being able to face themselves one-to-one when they're underwater, being able to control their own thoughts. Now they got to feed themselves positive thoughts, winning thoughts, instead of the doubting thoughts, the losing thoughts. And I find that turns them, they're going in with a negative mindset, they're coming out with a positive.
So breath work is huge. It's the only process that you in your body that you can control, right? So if you're not thinking about it, if you're not actively controlling it, then it's going to go ahead and be automatic. But it's not like you can control your heartbeat. It's not like you can control your other body processes. Your breath, you can actually control that and get a different benefit from how you're breathing. Everything that you're saying there, like, man, I'm making so many connections to, you know, no wonder that, you know, you went from a team sport to really an individual sport in MMA. You're the only person in the cage. You're the only person depending on success and failure. And that's what's distinctly different about our assessment and selection is we add that water aspect, and there's nobody that can help you under that water. You know, other than buddy breathing, where somebody's going to pass you the snorkel and you're going to get a breath thanks to your buddy. Man, there's nobody that can help you in that underwater. There is nobody that can help you get from one side of the pool to the other. There's nobody that can make you tie those knots faster or get your gear off quicker. How do you take somebody that's never done any water confidence drills and doesn't have any experience in the water? How do you get them through those first couple of sessions? What do you focus on?
So I focus on their capabilities. Then the next step I take is teaching them some breath control, teaching them the next step would be teaching them our ideologies behind the be safe method and the free mindset, staying focused, relax, economy of motion, and teaching them the efficient breathing techniques that we utilize. And then I take them into the water. First technique that I show them is how to tread water just a little bit, showing them how to stay calm while they're above water. Second technique I utilize in the 6-foot side of the pool. If they're really green to it, I just teach them how to touch the bottom of the pool. Because a lot of them think that they're going to be coming in and swimming right out the gate. I'm like, no, I want you to get used to just being in the water, my friend. Get comfortable here first. Then we'll start teaching you, because I can't teach you if you're panicking the whole time. Then that usually shifts into, okay, he's actually trying to teach me something here. Then once we see them getting comfortable is when we start to utilize different techniques, teaching them underwater crossover, teaching them how to properly hold their breath and utilize not just focusing inward on the CO2 tolerance. And when fighting that urge to breathe, we teach them techniques to shy away from that. One thing that we like to do is sing your favorite song when you're under the water and it gets chaotic. Sing your favorite song, focus outward, don't put your focus inward. And when we shift it to a military aspect, don't focus on yourself, focus on the team, focus on the mission at hand. Keep focus and keep your point of contact on the goal, not on what I'm feeling, because what I'm feeling is not going to help the team, right? So that's where we kind of, real green beginners, we help them with those techniques. And from there on, we pick it up. And we've seen guys and even teenagers and kids come in that were real green and scared of the water. And they're now swimming in 13 feet of water, touching the bottom of the pool, chilling with us at the bottom of the pool. It's taken a while, but that's why I tell everybody to keep coming to Deep End Fitness. We keep sharpening the mindset. We keep practicing these benefits and keep practicing the psychological side to where you're trying to go you versus you. What's the best version of you that you want to show up on competition day, on the day that it's time to go out there and do the mission. So you gotta be able to close all these tabs and pull up the best version of yourself when it's time to go.
That is a fantastic analogy, or a fantastic way to put that. You got to close those tabs and focus outwardly. I'll tell you what, from being a guy that's been underwater, fighting that urge, the second that you start being self-focused or inwardly focused, you're like, I have to breathe. Oh man, this sucks. My chest is burning. It's a wrap. You were not long for the world at that point. So man, it's a fantastic way to put it. So I want to talk basic breath work stuff. Like if you could give somebody, a ton of people out there, like, I don't even know how to start. So, Wim Hof has their stuff out there. There's a bunch of other people that do basic breath work. Let's just say baseline for anxiety. Somebody is having a rough go of it. They're just, inwardly focusing on having those negative thoughts or those intrusive thoughts. What would be just a quick cheat code you give somebody just to get their breath under control?
So as you start to feel that panic attack or that anxiety attack, instantly start trying to breathe through your nose, in through your nose, out through your mouth. And what I tell everybody, recovery breathing is just a 3 count. I'm not trying to look at a timer. I'm just trying to count to 3. In through my nose and out through my mouth for 5. Now, the whole time you're doing that, you want to feel the air coming in, feel the air going out with ease. You don't want to be forcing this in or out. Then the second thing, you want to visualize what's pulling up the anxiety, whatever it may be. Maybe I'm at work and my boss is giving me some crap. Our minds are like iPhones. We got a lot of tabs open, or back in the day, computers. This day and age, it's the iPhones. We got a lot of iPhones, a lot of apps open. We got to be able to swipe up on all those tabs, especially when the boss is getting on your nerves. Swipe up on that and pull up your goal, what it is that you're truly happy about. And while you're breathing and recovering, you're able to focus and pinpoint that accuracy where this is my happy place. This is what's going to keep me out of the anxiety bubble. This is what's going to keep me out of the unsafe bubble, wherever I may be, the uncomfortable bubble, and keep me in my happy zone. And while I'm recovering, doing that, you're going to feel your heart rate drop down. You're going to feel your body come back to normal temperatures. And you just keep doing this as long as you can. I usually promote 5 to 10 minutes is perfect. But you're in a work setting, you do whatever it may be, maybe a minute, maybe 2 minutes, just to reset the mindset, reset the goal, and then get after it again.
Yeah, and it's important to also recognize, I think, when those times to do that are important, because you mentioned your boss is giving you shit or something like that, or you're just, in a fight with your significant other or something like that. But I mean, car accidents, or if you get, almost in a car accident and you kind of like, oh my gosh, you got to be able to, and really, really quickly too, because you could be doing 70 miles an hour on the highway. You've got to be able to bring that, that anxiety, that just what you said, your nervous system, you got to be able to bring it down. And especially when you're traveling at that kind of speeds, things happen. And so that's good, being able to recognize when that is and be able to do it on the move without having to pull over. Now, if you got to pull over, you pull over. But I mean, there are a lot of situations I can think of that go on a day-to-day basis where, man, recognizing and pulling out some breathing techniques would be a massive help.
Yeah, that's just one of the many techniques, something like that where you are able to have time and you do have 10 minutes every day. Do some box breathing or do some triangle breathing where you're doing, I call it the legs, but you're going to go 3 seconds in, 3-second hold, 3 seconds out. Or if it's the box, it's even amounts. You got to inhale, hold, exhale, hold. And this ultimately helps you be able to really put everything in a box and compact it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Now when Aaron was talking to you about the team, or you had mentioned kind of the team, focusing on the team, I couldn't help but think of the many, many times I was in the pool and we would have somebody kind of pop. We call it popping, where, they're doing an underwater event. They have to go subsurface and they just continually pop. And then the rest of the team has got to pay for those transgressions, right? The pain will continue until you make it all the way or you quit. I am 100% on board with what you're talking about, is focusing on the team, focus on something else, putting the team first. So not necessarily a question to you. I just had to get that out there because I agree. And that's something that I used. Not that I popped very much, because I didn't. Let's be clear on that.
Could never be me, baby.
No.
Yeah.
But I will say those are some of the things that I would think of as putting the team first. Just to get through it.
I think of my kids and my wife. Whenever I'm in that state, even when I'm trying to push underwater, the last time I had to go back to that and really put the focus on the outwardly was when I attempted to do 70. Our pool is a 25-yard pool, and we do 50 yards underwater crossover. I tried to do a 70-yard. I hit it after a couple failed attempts. But man, 75 yards was when I really had to go to the dark side, not the dark side, the bright side.
Yeah.
I focused. All right, I got this. Fundamentals. Keep my mind focused on my fam. This is what I'm gonna do to get to the end. And it was like I treated it as a life or death. I was like, I gotta get to that wall. And I did. It was awesome. But putting the focus outwards was on the money.
Now, you've invited me out to Deep End Fitness, Las Vegas, to come and hang out and train with you guys.
Waiting.
I'm not. Yeah. You
get him
with you doing
get
50.
Him,
yeah, you're doing 50-yard crossovers. You may be waiting a little bit longer. I need.
But see, and that's where you're like, I don't want to do. But bro, the program, the crawl, walk, run type of program. So when I'm saying 50, that's where I am at. 75. That's where I'm. 25 yards is in half of that. Even working way to that. It's a crawl, walk, run program, and that's the biggest thing that everybody has to get. I didn't become a professional MMA fighter overnight. It took me baby steps to get here. So it's the same thing for the water. Same thing for.
Oh yeah, yeah. And like I said, if this was when I was just coming through the pipeline, you're like, yeah, no big deal, because those are things that we used to do. It's been a little bit for me, so yeah, I gotta come visit you guys and get my mind right.
Just dig down deep, baby. You got it. You know what that feeling would be like when you're on the wall. You hear them words, you'd be like, okay, come on, time to go.
I gotta go.
Like an old hat, just pull it on. It's like a warm jacket, Peaches.
It's my comfort zone. I love it. It is.
Got to. Hey, it's nice and I always say, it's nice and quiet under there. If you just focus outwardly, it's actually very peaceful. Some of the most peaceful times that you'll ever have. Well, fun story. Some of the most peaceful times you ever have might be right before you gray out and meet the wizard. But all I'm saying is right before that, it's very peaceful. You're not thinking about a whole lot. Maki, I wanted to ask a specific couple of questions here, especially that we get. A lot of people will hit us up with, questions about really specific water training stuff. And we always defer to the experts. Well, you're the expert. Question number 1 is about breath holds. In your opinion, is it more important to have a super long breath hold, or is it more important to be efficient underwater and making all of your processes work as well as they can?
Okay, say that one more time.
Oh, okay, sorry. The question is about breath holds. So people will hit us up and they'll be like, "Oh, I want to have the longest breath hold I have, so that I can hold my breath for 4 minutes. Then that means any task I do." Usually, what we say is kind of the opposite. I tell people, I'm not necessarily worried about your breath hold per se. I'd like you to be able to deal with stress underwater, but I want you to be as efficient as you possibly can. If it takes you 50% less time than the person next to you, then you don't have to hold your breath so long. What's your opinion on that?
You said it exactly. How efficient can I be for the goal at hand? We do one called dumbbell tie downs, where I take 3 Velcro straps and I have them strap each dumbbell together. So 2 dumbbells, and I have them strap the 3 together. And I let them know, like, this could take you 30 seconds or this could take you 1 minute. It depends on how you're operating and how smooth you're going. So in all necessary, how efficient can you be? And if we're talking about trying to get a longer breath hold, then that takes practice as well.
Right. Yeah. And it's just one of those things. It's a question that we answer pretty much the 3 of us the same way. We say, hey, I'd rather see you be very efficient. I had a friend that could do, exactly what you're saying. There's an event called Ditch and Dawn where you have to take your equipment off and put it back on. My friend could do this in less than like 10 seconds and he was perfect at it. It used to it used to absolutely infuriate the instructors, because his name was Rob. He would just go down, he would take his stuff off, he'd come right back up, and everybody else would be down there literally forever. And it was perfect. Like you couldn't, catch him slipping on it ever. But he was always like, I don't have to hold my breath. All I did have to hold my breath is 30 seconds. A 25 meter underwater, if you're efficient, 30 seconds tops. You're going to be down. You'll be fine. Why do I need a 4-minute breath hold? But it's just one of those questions where people, and again, no fault to them. They're just assuming, well, if I do these, CO2 tables and I do this breath work, then I'm going to be able to hold my breath for 4 minutes. Well, okay. Laying on your bed, sure, you'll be able to hold your breath for 4 minutes. But, midway through a pool session where I'm taking you out of the pool to do flutter kicks and to do squats and to do push-ups and to do buddy carries and then putting you back in, like, things are going to be a little bit different. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Another quick hitter question here. You mentioned it earlier, but I'd like you to elaborate on the importance of breathing through your nose. So there's a lot of research out there, people taping their mouths when they work out or when they sleep now. And can you just explain kind of the reasoning behind breathing through your nose is the gold standard?
So breathing through our nose, that's the human. This is what this is for, just to breathe in and out. A lot of people don't know that when you're breathing in through your nose, it's releasing a natural calming anxiety throughout your body. It releases a gas. I don't want to get this wrong, but it releases a gas into the body that helps transfer red blood cells where you need it the most. So as I was saying earlier, the recovery breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, that's already helping you spread that gas throughout your body. That helps carry the red blood cells where you need it. For working out, that's what I like to lean in on, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, till I can fully get a grip on my breath where I'm just going into the nose, out through the nose. I heard you say taping the mouth. I've played around with the tape on the mouth while I sleep, and that has helped me stop snoring. I've done it for a span of 6 months, and sometimes I wake up and when I'm really tired, it's on. But when I first started getting used to this technique, I would wake up with the tape like half on, half off. But I'm just he stopped snoring. It's dialed me in on my breath work. I'm able to pull more oxygen in while I'm sleeping, and believe it or not, my sleeps actually I wear the R ring, and my sleeps have been through the roof. My rest periods are way better because I'm only nose breathing.
Fantastic. I'm a subject matter enthusiast, is what we would call it. Not necessarily an expert, but a lot of the, I have a couple of good friends that really, I just had a friend that rolled in a jiu-jitsu tournament and literally taped his mouth for the entire grappling tournament and ended up winning gold. So out there in Vegas.
Whoa.
Yeah. No, Eddie's a beast out at Cobino's spot out there. So yeah, amazing. So the other thing that I wanted to kind of like quick hitter talk about here is the breath work prior to an event. So we talked about how it is that we can calm down for an event. What would you recommend for somebody that's getting ready to go into something? How do you get yourself into that mental ready state using your breath work?
So I like to do I do 30 seconds, 3 rounds, 30 seconds of mouth breathing, intense mouth breathing. It looks something like this. Just to get the heart rate up and really get my body ready for what's about to come. And this is me getting ready for a fight, getting ready to go out there. Maybe in 15 minutes, I'm about to go out for my fight. I'll do these 3 repeated rounds, intense 30 seconds of mouth breathing, getting my heart rate up. And then I control that back down with recovery breathing when I'm going 3 seconds in through my nose, 5 seconds out through my mouth. And that helps me dial it in and get my lungs warmed up and flush my lungs of all the bad crap that's in there and really pull back in clean oxygen, ready to go, ready to use.
And you're teaching all of these different techniques at each one of your pool sessions that you guys have.
This breathing practice is one that I use right before we go into our dynamic warm-ups at the pool every time. So it's a standard for myself that I do myself pretty much every day.
Okay, so how do we find you guys, and how do we, like, say I want to get into the pool? I've seen Underwater Torpedo League on all the highlight reels on ESPN because they love playing those. It's great,
man. You guys, I want to say y'all have made it. When Sports Center is putting y'all stuff out there, I was like, yo, the boys made it. I think I even hit Prime Up Direct. I was like, hey, what up?
So we find you guys online and we book an appointment and then go from there.
BJ Fitness Vegas is our at gmail.com is our email. You can email us anytime. And then if you follow us on IG, DEF_Vegas is our Instagram page for the Las Vegas location. And that's where you can find us on our website. You can drop in for daily classes. You can buy monthly passes. You can even buy private sessions between myself and my instructors. I have 2 other instructors under me. And listen, our community is still growing. I'm still new to this, to owning this business, and I'm looking to grow the community through the military. I'm looking to grow my business through professional athletes, through entrepreneurs, the everyday athlete that wants better for themselves, regular people that are in their daily walks of life that want to be 1% better with breathing, with mindset. I want them to come out and experience this as well, because it is overall, it's a great experience for the mental health and for teaching us how to breathe and bring things back to how we should be operating.
No, exactly. And do I need to be able to swim? Like, I'm sure it helps, but
honestly, you don't have to be able to swim. We teach you everything that we know, which is everything that you should be able to know, that you'll learn. Water confidence, we'll get that through the roof. Drown proofing, you'll be drown proofed in no time. And the confidence in the water will being surrounded by myself and my instructors, your water confidence is going to be through the roof within 2 to 3 sessions. I promise you that.
2 to 3 sessions. That's incredible. Like, that's a massive learning curve.
Yeah. And it's all through the barriers in you.
So I know that this isn't necessarily tangible, but have you guys noticed an increase, or, and maybe not you, but some of your clients, have you guys noticed an increase in kind of mental acuity and the ability to handle stress? Because in a time right now that, anxiety is the highest that it's ever been in the US or just the world, depression and mental health is at the forefront of a lot of people's minds. I've got to imagine that doing the kind of work that you guys are doing in Deep End Fitness, that you're seeing increases in people's overall ability to handle stress, lower anxiety, less depression, that kind of stuff. Do you notice any of that kind of stuff?
I do. I notice that in basically every person that comes through my program. I see the resilience that they build towards their lifestyle, no matter if they're a professional fighter, a pro athlete, a military, going into selections, even just moms, dads, and kids, right? Our kids are the ones that are on the tablets the most, and I see them being fearless in everything that they're doing in front of me, and just seeing them go in with a certain attitude, negative attitude, and come out with a positive, like, wow, I didn't know I had that in me. I didn't know I could even do that. And seeing them break those barriers and come over those things and leave better than I kind of come to me, and leaving better than they were when they came in is I can say 100%. Everybody comes in. Nobody I haven't had one person that came in yet that had a negative experience.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And the other thing there is, you're going to lose. Like, these sessions are not going to go well. You are going to pop. You are going to have those things. You're not going to be able to complete everything every single time. It's just the nature of life. Like, you're not an undefeated professional or amateur fighter. You've had to take losses. You've had to deal with getting back in the pool after those things. Peaches and I, one of the best things that you can do for a student or anybody on the team is, when we're parachuting, we have a cutaway. When your initial shoot doesn't work, and that second one, you got to throw that bad boy out and hope that it works, or you're going to have an impact with the ground. The best thing that you can do is put another shoot on and immediately go right back up, just right back into it as fast as you possibly can. Don't sit there and dwell on it. What are some other things that you use to get people back in the fight, and how do you deal with those losses?
So when they're not necessarily performing the way I always let them know that this is part of the programming. I do one that's called zero out. I teach this. I apply this to my practices. It's called zero out, and I put them on a number scale, right? So you have the mindset, you have your breath work, you have your skill set, which is the technique, and that's the part that they mostly are messing up on. And then I have the recovery. How am I recovering from the workout? So earlier in the pod, we were talking about the dumbbell tie downs. For beginners, not a lot of people can even get to tie all three down at one time, even in 6 feet of water. Sometimes they can only get one tie around, and then they come up, and that's when I see them defeated. Like, dang, I wasn't able to get all three. But I look at them and tell them, hey, look at the bright side. You didn't get three, but you got one. You got one on there. With the same type of mindset that got the one, let's go back and attack two. Okay, now they go down and they get two. They were trying for three. They couldn't get 3 rings around. They come back up, still feeling defeated. Man, I want to get all 3 of them. I know I can. Okay, that's what you need. I know you can. And I've seen you just do a breath hold for 1 minute, and you're down there for 30 seconds freaking out already. You got to calm down. You got to listen to your mindset, sing your favorite song, and now let's go back and attack for 3. So taking them out of the negative and having them focus on the positive is what I always do to help them cope with the stress and anxiety that they're feeling. I feed them more positive, because at that time they're just looking at the negative, and the negative can be this big, where the positive was this big, and they're just looking at this and forgetting all about the positive.
Yeah.
They got to bring, as an instructor, as a guide, we got to bring back the good experience, the good positives. And that's where they're like, okay, yeah, you're right. I can get 2 more. Let me go down there and do it. With the recovery that they're doing, the proper recovery technique, you see them closing out the tabs. All right, I'm gonna attack this monkey. All right, let's go. I'm gonna be down there with you. Take the 3 big breaths. We go down, and bang, they're hitting it because they're in a positive state, not in a negative state.
The crazy thing about that is those same people couldn't even swim a week before that. And then they're focusing on the negative, like, oh, I couldn't get all 3. Like, bro, you couldn't tread water a week ago. And you're down there, doing these things in the water. Like, it's really important as an instructor. And it makes my little instructor heart happy to hear you say that you focus on the positive and you focus people in on what it is that they can do and what it is that they are doing, as opposed to what they failed at. Because we as humans, man, it's easy to be like, oh, I failed. I didn't throw that punch correctly. I didn't, jiu-jitsu. I had a crappy day rolling, or I couldn't figure it out. Man, you didn't know how to tie a belt a month ago, and you're in here now worrying about, all this other stuff. Maki, we usually end with asking somebody for their advice. So, man, from, your journey as a kickboxer, from the islands of Hawaii and coming through your MMA career and eventually finding yourself in a deep end fitness and to find all this mental preparation and finding yourself as constantly ready and a coach and somebody that can mentor and guide somebody to those positive things. We see a lot of that in what we do as well, right? So we may not have the exact same journey, but man, I think you got a lot of advice for somebody that's trying to start out on something that they're not necessarily confident at. What advice would you give to that group of people that's trying to do something impossible?
My advice to those that are still chasing it and about to attempt it, know that be failures, but have that never give up attitude. That's my biggest advice right there. Know that there will be failures, but never give up, and never give up on yourself. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Maki Pitolo, man, where can we find you? Obviously Deep End Fitness. So DEF_Vegas is where they can find everything. Peaches is out there in Vegas. I'm going to be out there very soon. So I'll go ahead and put it out there in the world. I'll actually show up to a pool event.
Yeah, you can just on DEF_Vegas, which is just Deep End Fitness_Vegas. You can get all our contact information through there. And then you can find myself under coconut_bombs with a Z. That's coconut_bombs with a Z. And that's where you'll find myself. You can DM me any questions that y'all have. Anybody that's watching this podcast, you come out, let me know that you were watching this podcast and I got you for a Deep End Fitness session.
Oh, snap.
Nice.
Expand my community and help people be better mentally, physically, whatever I can do to bring you to that next level.
Maki, that's awesome, man. That's cool. I'm gonna let some of the boys know, and what I promise I'll be out there before Aaron does.
We'll see. We'll see, Peach.
Aaron may just fly down just out of spite.
Might have to.
Yeah, we got quite a few dudes on Nellis that aren't able to attend some of the development sessions, so they kind of do a lot of pool work on their own. So
hey, you send them my way, bro.
Yeah, man, we'll put the word out, and they're usually watching this.
Perfect.
So awesome, dude. Well, I appreciate you joining us and hanging out with us. And you got a good, just so you know, you got some good takes on here that we're gonna put out. So it's really good. And
nice.
Yeah, man. And everybody out there, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and then we're out here. Later, folks.
Thanks, Maki.
All right.